Welcome into Money Shots. We're now live. Me, Stephen Cheah, Chris Castellani's waiting in the wings. We're going to get to him after Cheah so we can talk some baseball. But first, Cheah, you have been red hot. You had another easy winner last night. I like that because that meant I got to go to bed early. I had no action in the Suns Nuggets game. So I didn't really care how exciting of a finish it was. I was just really glad to hit that nice prop bet. That was after the Sixers, however, really tried to ruin my, it was just one of those Sundays where it's like, I like the Sixers. I put it out. I got a great number at +2 at the Barstool Sportsbook. And then my job was done. It closed -1. I said, okay, great. I got a nice little CLV trophy. And it looked easy. Up 9 at half, just cruising in the third. And then in the fourth quarter, I walked outside, did a couple things, came right back in. And I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Like, what happened? And had to end up sweating that one into overtime. Luckily, they got the cover and the win. If anybody bet the money line, I know that was probably the easier move there as that line was starting to move. I just didn't need that unnecessary Sunday stress. Cheah, talk to me about your prop bet for last night, and then we'll get into tonight's games.
My career, I just did I was watching the pregame show and I saw that the kid from the shooting was there that James Harden brought. So I was like, oh man, like Harden's about to ball out. He just had a couple bad games. So I bet all Harden alt lines. So like over 29.5 points, over 6.5 boards, over 9.5 assists, over 3.5 threes, mixed with some other things that I liked from the Celtics side. Everything hit except in overtime. It went to overtime and I was two Harden assists away. First play of overtime, he gets an assist. The charge that they called on Joel Embiid, which was reviewed, had that been overturned, that would have been assist 10. It would have been 90-1. Would have been a very, very nice hit. Obviously, it didn't happen. But I've been feeling good with the playoffs. We've been doing good. I love the alternate lines to the Barstool Sportsbook. Last night we did Devin Booker over 27.5 points, Kevin Durant over 26.5 points. Those all cleared in the third quarter. I've flip-flopped. I used to hate watching the Suns without Chris Paul. They're like, I don't want to use the word easier, but they're a predictable team to watch. They have two guys that can score, and that is it. They have nobody else. So betting on Durant and Booker points lines without Chris Paul, who's the only guy that can really pass on that team, is great because Landry Shamet had hit a bunch of threes late. But before that, and if you take him out, he's the only guy in 2 games that has scored in double digits outside of the big 2. So
very good point.
They're getting 100 points somehow, unless one of them goes off for 60. Both of them are probably going to get around 30.
All right, well, let's get into tonight's games over at the Barstool Sportsbook. Stephen Cheah's Knicks catching 4.5 in Miami, total 208.5. Cheah, I was very close to firing on Miami this morning, opened up 3.5. I was looking at the Heat going, all right, here's what we know about this team. And we know that you're going to get effort for 4 quarters. Unlike, well, some of the other teams I've been backing lately. That being said, I have appreciated what we've seen from Jimmy Butler. I have appreciated from what we've seen from this team. But I think this one is now just a smidge out of control. I think it's a little too high. And we know that the Heat didn't have their greatest performance in Game 3, but they still played great defensive ball. Jimmy Butler, 28 points. Bam Adebayo, 17. I expect them to have a better offensive performance tonight at home, but we know Butler's still not 100%. Looks like he will be a go for tonight's game, but still listed as questionable. We know that Miami plays well when he's in the lineup. That is the most obvious thing I could say. The easiest prop bet for you would probably say, okay, Butler's in, let's take his over. But I do think that they have realized, all right, we better start juicing this one up just a little bit. And also, he only averages 26.5 points per game versus your Knicks. Now that the line is up to 4.5, I'm starting to look at it going, all right, what do we know about this Heat team? What do we know about this Knicks team? The Knicks looked so horrible in Game 3. It's almost as if I want to talk myself into a buy low spot. Does that make sense? Like,
Absolutely.
It's almost like one of those contrarian type of things like I like to do. I don't think I'm going to be getting involved with either one of these teams tonight, but I had to hear your opinion, especially coming as a Knicks fan, and I know that you're very hard on them as well.
Yeah, I think in the playoffs, it's a little bit of a different beast because you're playing the same team. If the teams are somewhat evenly matched, you can see inconsistent performances where one game they're good, next game they're bad, next game they're good, next game they're bad, that type of thing. I think that's what we're going to see here. We actually just got it out. We've got a Knicks parlay that's generously boosted. The Bing Bong parlay, we got Jalen Brunson to score 25 plus points, Julius Randle to record 8 plus rebounds, RJ Barrett to make 2 plus threes, and the Knicks to win plus 875. So if you think the Knicks are going to win, I think this is a fairly good bet. I actually have my prop of the month for May tonight. This line has gone insane. So I almost bet it last night after the game and released it, but I wanted to wait till the morning and for West Coast people to be up. That was a mistake because last night it was plus 106. This morning I bet it was minus 114. And once I put it out as my prop of the month, it went crazy. I think it was down to like minus 175. It's Julius Randle over 8.5 rebounds. So he missed game 1. In game 2 and game 3, he was the leading rebounder. He had 12 boards and 14 boards. So he's averaging 13 rebounds per game this series. This is a defensive series. The scoring is very low. It's like 200 or less a game. In the 3 games so far, there's been 48, 50, and 50 rebounds for the Knicks. Julius Randle, in the 2 games that he's played, has been the Knicks' leading rebounder. I feel very confident he's going to get 9 rebounds tonight. I think there's going to be around 50 rebounds to be had. He's getting a lion's share of them. I love him. 9 plus rebounds tonight. And if you're looking for value, Julius Randle double-double is plus 170. That feels like too good of a line to be true. So I put that out with the prop of the month as a good value, pointing out value. But I'm going to stand with the Julius Randle 9 plus boards over 8.5.
All right, let's move on to the next one. Over the Barstool Sportsbook, Golden State +3. We've seen some money coming on the Warriors late here. Lakers, Warriors total 227.5. And this one is interesting. You've got, well, a couple of question marks, if you will. We know that for the most part, we're going to see LeBron, even though he's still listed as day-to-day. We know that for the most part, we're going to see Anthony Davis because, well, it's AD and it's the playoffs, but still something to keep an eye on. So I wanted to see when I saw this line drop, like, okay, who's out? Mo Bamba, still questionable for tonight. We know Golden State has got some guys that have been out for quite a while. So nothing really catastrophic there, but it made me want to look a little harder at this Warriors team. Then I get on Twitter and I go, shit, Scott Foster, that son of a bitch. When you want to back certain teams, Scott Foster is not the guy with the whistle that you want to be on the court. He does heavily favor the Lakers. If this one gets much lower, I probably will be on the Lakers. But one of the things I was looking at here was in regards to the total. And we know that these two have been playing just great ball against one another. And wow, it is really scary to take a Lakers under, but 227.5. And I think this one's going to keep going up throughout the day. So I'm just going to hang tight here. We'll see what ends up coming to fruition, Cheah, but it looks like under for me. So while I do not have an official play out just yet, in terms of the NBA, I am looking at a buy low spot on the Knicks after initially was looking at the Heat, and I'm looking at the under Golden State. And if this Lakers line keeps dropping, let's say we see like a Lakers -1 or even gets to a pick 'em, I may be jumping on them as well. Do you want to recap what you're on for tonight? Any other opinions? Anything else you're looking for headed into this week?
Yeah, if you're looking at the Lakers-Warriors game tonight, one prop that is very scary to look at is LeBron James under points. 26.5. It was 27.5. It was 28.5 before that for the previous games. He's been at 22, 20, 21, and 23 points, so a solid 22 average. He's shooting it enough. Like, he really, I mean, if Scott Foster's reffing, that's certainly something that could play into it. He's big on foul calls, especially for the home team that is in LA. So that could certainly factor in. But the data is pretty strong on LeBron under points. And so I think that's a pretty good value play this series. That's one I'd continue to look at as long as it stays 26.5 or above. I wouldn't play it. Steph Curry's under at 30.5 points is one he hasn't hit all season, all series. One thing to watch for is the guy who's played him really well, Jared Vanderbilt, is playing less. He played him really good game 1, and his minutes have decreased every game. So I would just watch for that. If he rides the bench more, That's going to favor Steph Curry a bit more, so that's tonight on watch. Another thing I would look out for is, and this is all playoffs long, is the number 14.5. If you see a guy with that rebound total, which Anthony Davis is, that is a really high rebound total. So you're talking 15 plus boards. Anthony Davis did not hit the other night. I believe he had 13, which is still a good rebounding game. Nikola Jokic last night, his total was 14.5. He finished with 4 rebounds. So I'm not saying that that's a regular thing, but 14.5 is way too high for anyone, whether it's Kevon Looney, Anthony Davis, back in the regular season, Steven Adams. And 14.5 is too high for anyone. I would take the under, whoever that is. Now, it's not going to be my daily prop right now, but I'm just saying, look at that number, and I think there's going to be value every time on the under. But
I love that. Something to look forward to throughout the rest of the playoffs, to keep an eye on from the big brain himself. One thing I wanted to add that I did find, my good friends over at Killer Sports, this benefits my under tonight that I will be on in Lakers Warriors. 32-10-2. That is 76% against the spread. That is the Warriors in the postseason. That is since 2012. And when the Warriors are behind in the series, that record is 16-4 against the spread to the under. So looks like just a little bit more to get me to the window there. Cheah, thank you as always for coming on. I know you've got a busy day working from home like a champion. Dad of the year. Oh, wait, your hat says data, not dad. Same, one and the same. Appreciate you. We're going to let you head out of here. I'm going to bring in Chris Castellani. We're going to talk some Major League Baseball. I know he already tweeted out some of his props. Chris, what is going on? Thanks for joining Money Shots.
Of course. Thanks for having me on again. Yeah, no, I tweeted out earlier. I'm happy to be on. I love doing it. I wish today's card was better. Like, this is a rough. Yeah, well, it was a rough Monday card, but I think it's ironic that Cheah was on earlier because I got a lot of props that I'm pretty excited about today. So, yeah.
I love that. I love that for you. Yeah, Cheah's got a busy afternoon, so I was like, hey, Cheah, why don't we come in, knock out NBA first, and then I can take the rest of the half hour with Mr. Castellani at Castellani 2014. If you guys are not following Chris, he's starting to tweet out some of his baseball plays. Chris, let's just start with them. I know you said this card is ugly. I made a couple phone calls to some of my friends that do a lot of baseball handicapping because we all know that I do not. So let's start off with some of the low-hanging fruit here, some of the stuff that seems really obvious. You text me your list, and even I, as a non-baseball fan, if you will, know that Goldschmidt just crushes Stroman historically. That is like just a little-known fact in terms of baseball handicapping. You like Goldschmidt to get a homer today, plus 380, and that just is music to my ears. Anything over $3 plus money just gets me excited to want to put some bets in.
Yeah, no, I felt the same way. I'm surprised that the odds are like this good for betting today at plus 380 because he's 8 for 18 and 8 of those hits against Stroman have been 3 of those hits off of Stroman have been home runs. Yeah, and yesterday, because Goldschmidt is known to be a very streaky hitter, and when he's on, there's few in baseball that are as good. He hit 3 home runs yesterday against the Tigers, which makes me think that that's why I was surprised by the odds, because it's not only do you have a hitter going up against a pitcher that he historically dominates, he's coming off of one of the best games of his career. Stroman has been really good this year, both at home and on the road, but the numbers do not favor him today at Wrigley Field, where I'll be tomorrow.
Oh, yay. You're going to be at Wrigley tomorrow. Have you ever been to Wrigley before?
I have, yes, but not since I joined Barstool. So I'll be there with Carl tomorrow and I believe Wednesday as well to watch the rest of the series.
Love that. I had a great time in Wrigleyville with the man, the myth, the legend. That's right, Carl. He is an absolute right, and everybody knows him. It's hilarious. He is just a living legend down there in that bar district. Go to Sluggers, hit a couple home runs for me yourself. Just don't get hit with the ball like I did. That being said, let's move on to your next one. This one also seems, rather obvious to me, if you will. Patrick Sandoval, historically not great against the Astros. And for whatever reason, I don't know. I don't watch enough baseball, but I can tell you the Astros hit above 300 versus him. And he has almost a ERA in the 7s, the high 6s, low 7s against Houston. Seems very interesting here, but you have a prop bet for this one. Yep. And then I'm going to actually have you elaborate that on this prop bet in specifics, because I've had a lot of questions in regards to how to bet these basis props.
Yeah, I've struggled with it too. But today I have Kyle Tucker over 1.5 bases career. I mean, only 11 at bats against Sandoval, but he's 5 for 11 and he's hit for power, high OPS. It's not just singles. That was really the reason why I went with over 1.5 bases, is that if you're looking for a player who has a lot of hits against a pitcher, and you're thinking, oh, I could bet over 1.5 bases, you never know when they might just basically get intentionally walked. It could just be a single. When I was looking at this prop, there's a lot of power there, a lot of extra base pop. I almost went with Astros on the run line here, but considering the way they've been scuffling a little bit, they did just lose 2 of 3 against the Mariners. I thought maybe they'd be dogs because Sandoval is a pretty good pitcher, but the Astros historically crush him. They crush the Angels as a team, and I like Kyle Tucker a lot just as a player. He's my preseason MVP pick, so I'm going with him. That's plus 116.
Is it because he's a lefty? Is that something the Astros just do really well against?
You would think. I think that's part of it, but the Astros' 2 best hitters are lefties with right now with Tucker and Alvarez. So I think there might be some reverse splits going on there. I think they might be every bit as good against left-handed pitching. And the Astros over the last several years have put out juggernaut teams. So I would lean towards them today, but I definitely like Tucker over 1.5 bases, given the fact that he's very capable of hitting for pop against lefties.
All right, something I just wanted to explain for all of you that are betting at the Barstool Sportsbook, how the bases prop actually works, because I saw a lot of people get confused here. And I even had one of my best girlfriends that works at the MLB Network chime in on Twitter because there was kind of a lot of, we'll call it misinformation, going back and forth on how it actually works. Now, if you are betting at the Barstool Sportsbook, I can confirm this. If you bet at somewhere else, you're an idiot, and I don't know their rules. So don't ask me how they grade it. But at the Barstool Sportsbook, it is bases off bat. So in order for Kyle Tucker to hit this, he needs to hit 2 singles, 1 double, a triple, a home run, whatever that is. If he hits a single and then advances to second, that does not count as 2 bases. So I just wanted to reiterate that for everyone.
Yeah. If he walks twice, that's 2 bases, right? Or
I do not believe so. I believe it has to come from his hit. Yes. Okay. So something I wanted to clarify, because I've seen a lot of people back and forth on Twitter. And again, depending on where you live, not everybody has a Barstool Sportsbook. So I understand there are competing entities out there, but always double check your house rules. Yeah. I never see somebody think they want to bet that they lost. They go to the window with their ticket, or they log into their app and they're going, wait, someone tell me why he got a walk and a single. That's just kind of one of those things where, again, some of these prop bets can get a little bit more in depth than people are used to. All right, you have a third prop bet up that you gave out on Twitter earlier. Chris, tell me what it is.
Yep. Freddie Peralta over 6.5 Ks against the Dodgers tonight. That's plus 112. Peralta's always had really good stuff. I looked at his last 2 outings, 6 innings each. He struck out 8 against the Tigers, 10 against the Rockies in his start. And one thing I look for when I look for strikeout props as well is like how deep a pitcher can go into a game. I mean, I feel like it's just common sense. The deeper they go, the more outs you're going to have, more likely you're going to see a higher number of strikeouts. This is a guy, when you look at his pitch counts, his first start threw 85 pitches, but everything else since then has been mid-90s to low 100s. So that means they're going to be willing to stick with him a little bit. And surprisingly, a team like the Dodgers, as good as they are up to this point in the season, 3rd in baseball in strikeouts offensively. So I felt like there's given the Peralta's track record, kind of like that. I like the value on that plus 112 considering the numbers I just gave. So yeah, this is probably might be the one I'm most confident in. He's looked pretty good this season.
So being most confident, do you like the Brewers maybe first 5, Brewers for the game for those that are not prop bettors such as myself?
No, because I think the Brewers offense isn't that good. So it's hard. And they're going up against Dodgers pitching staff. That's always solid. That's the hard part about betting.
So, okay, then let me pivot again. Then maybe we should be looking at the total here.
Yeah, I thought about that as what is the total right now?
The total currently is 8.5. Under is minus 109 at the Barstool Sportsbook.
Yeah, under sounds pretty good there. I feel like at 8.5. Yeah.
Now that you say that with the Brewers offense, I have been on the bad side of that a couple times this year. But shockingly, this Brewers team, that's what they do. They win those low-scoring type games. So I do actually wonder if maybe that's a correlated parlay over at the Barstool Sportsbook. Brewers to the under, Just saying. Over strikeouts also with Freddie Peralta coincides with that. And anytime I feel like you get a lower price on the Dodgers, you're going to get a ton of public money that wants to jump in because it's the Dodgers. Even though 21-14 laying that kind of juice does not really pay the bills over the course of this early part of the season. Chris, tell me what else you got going on and anything else you may be looking at for today or looking at in terms of maybe some futures bets.
Futures bets. Well, preseason, I put out Kyle Tucker for MVP, but right now is futures. I think one that people definitely have to look at. I've liked from the beginning is Hunter Brown for American League Rookie of the Year. I don't know what the odds are right now, but I picked him preseason. I think that Josh Young at this point is probably the leader in the clubhouse, but considering the fact that I think the Astros will turn it around and be a team that's going to be making a deep run into October, I think he's going to get a lot of high leverage starts and a lot of eyeballs on him. I think that could sway the vote. Another one that I joked about way earlier in the season that at this point is looking okay is Eduardo Rodriguez for American League Cy Young. He's currently in that, and I'm not just saying that because he's a Tiger. He's currently in the top 5 to 10 in a majority of the important categories in the American League. The one downside is that very rarely does the Cy Young winner come from a team that's, in that 70 win range, but he's going to be a hot commodity.
Yeah, we saw it with David Price and the Rays back in the day.
That's true. And even last year, Sandy Alcantara, I guess, with the Marlins. But the reason I bring it up is I think at some point this year, he may get traded to a team that's going to be contending for something. And if he gets traded somewhere and pitches the way he has now, we could be talking about a guy who's getting a lot more high leverage starts. And again, that plays a factor in the public or in the
some really nice plus money currently at the Barstool Sportsbook. I have the futures odds open. You want to click baseball at the top, MLB, and then futures. Right now we've got everything from American League MVP, National League, Cy Young Award winners, Rookie of the Year winners up. So lots of stuff until the games start. Then those will come back off and they'll be back up again tomorrow morning. Chris, love having you on. Appreciate you filling in as always, bringing some baseball winners. And it is Making Money Mondays, but I don't think Megan put anything out because, well, she's off
the grid, I believe.
Yeah, she's not allowed to have a phone, I guess. God, I'm so glad they didn't ask me to do that. Chris, could you imagine me being out there trying to eat bugs and also have to be like a methodical bitch about it? Like I would be so out of my element. Let me do one of the more fun ones. Like don't put me in a pit full of snakes or roaches or I'm feeling for her, but I feel like she I said on Twitter, I thought she was not the favorite, but I would put her at 5-1 to win the whole thing. We'll see if she can be mean enough to
that's one downside. Yeah, you kind of have to.
You got it. Yeah, I'm an asshole. I can handle that.
That'll be tough for her.
Yeah, but I think they would Billy football me and get me out of there right away because they know I'm an asshole. So there's like some being methodical that comes into play. I'm excited to see that series. It'll be out this summer after they get it all filmed. Exciting stuff. Enjoy Wrigley. Have an absolute time. Give Carl a high five for me. And enjoy some, I think you guys are going to drink Miller Lite because that's just what you guys do in Chicago. And eat some hot dogs and have an absolute blast. Chris, thank you. Thank you to Stephen Cheah. Make sure you're following both of them at Castellani 2014 on Twitter, at Trust the Data, at Stephen Cheah. And make sure you like and subscribe to the Barstool Sportsbook YouTube channel so you can catch all of the shows. That's Hot Ice. That's Pick Central. You know the deal. We'll see you guys on Wednesday.